hit that button.
I don't know what button. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Welcome back, everybody, once again to another ghost podcast. That's the key word. Spooky.
Yeah, algorithm, ghost podcast.
Ghost podcast.
True crime. Spooky, haunted, haunting, investigation. Okay.
So,
in this episode,
I will be talking about the Ellis / Winecoff hotel in Atlanta and the Sorrell Weed House in Savannah, Georgia.
Excellent. I'll be talking about a haunted lake.
Ooh, we haven't never had a lake before on the show.
Lanier, maybe?
Lanier? Okay.
And also, this one is literally called The Pirate's House.
Oh, well, that's excellent.
Stay tuned for that one.
Is it a ride at Disneyland or?
Okay. We don't have to bring Disney into every single podcast. It's
we
fine.
do for the algorithm.
Algorithm, hashtag Disney.
Hashtag Disney vlog food review. Okay. So do you want to go first with your haunted
sure.
lake?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
I feel like normally we have to give like announcements or something. I don't know.
Well, we did very few modifications to the set for the first time in like 12 episodes. We just have a new candle thing.
Yeah, thank you to my parents for allowing us to steal your candelabras.
Other than that, we don't have like a drastic change.
So hopefully this works.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, one update. Next weekend we will be going to Tombstone, Arizona.
Yes.
Doing some ghost tours there. So we plan on doing a vlog. So keep an eye out for that.
I'm excited. Like a true investigation, guys. It's happening.
We got EMF meters.
Yeah. We got the gear.
Boop, boop, boop,
Gotta get the gear. That's for research. Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about Lake Lanier.
Let's do it.
Lanier? I don't know how to spell Lanier. I don't know. Sorry. It's in Beaufort, Georgia.
Okay. That sounds right.
Okay. Just really knocking it out of the park with this intro.
Pronunciation. We're known for our pronunciations around here.
It was, I say built in
They constructed the lake.
Wait, I don't think, that's note is wrong.
Sorry, editing your notes in real time.
Sorry. This is a man-made lake, so it is kind of built.
Okay, so it actually was built.
Yeah, in the 1950s.
Okay.
So it is the largest lake in Georgia.
Oh.
Covering 38,000 acres.
38 acres, the massive lake, the size of...
I don't know what is going on. I apologize for this mess at the beginning. 38,000 acres and 700 miles of shoreline.
Okay, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it's very big.
But
yeah, it's like a man-made lake because they created like a dam to help with the water supply in the area.
Gotcha.
But it is like a big, fun lake, and it's really popular for swimming and boating and fishing and all the camping, the lake stuff that you do at the lake.
Very cool.
So
we love lakes.
We love lakes.
Love lamp.
I love lamp. So the lake was not always a lake. It was actually Oscarville originally. So it was like a whole town, like a whole city town that was primarily owned by like Black people.
Okay.
And so it said that, like, obviously the government was being super racist and decided we're going to turn your town into a lake. So can you please get out?
Okay.
So they forced everyone out. They, paid them for their land. Yeah, right.
At the fair market value, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely below fair market value. And so they created this lake. It was named after Sidney Lanier, who was an author, poet, musician, but also a Confederate soldier.
Okay.
So prior to this, it was Oscarville. It was a lot of farmland. So in order to like get rid of this, they just had to flood everything that was there. They tried to like take down some of the structures, but a part of this was they moved 20 cemeteries.
Oh.
Yeah. Tried to move 20 cemeteries. I don't know if you know much about the 1950s, like documentation around cemeteries, because cemeteries, I mean, they were there from like like modern graves were there, like antebellum, Civil War era graves, and there was also like native burial sites there too.
Okay, so like a host of different time periods and peoples.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they tried to move as many bodies as they could, but obviously they couldn't do everything. And so then they did what they had to do, and this flooded the rest of the town. So when I was looking it up, if you think about what's underneath this lake now, it's kind of described as like an Atlantis, because there's like a whole city down there that they just left.
That's pretty wild, actually.
Right?
Can you like dive down to people?
Yes, we'll get into that. So think of it like literally like a whole flooded city, which is wild. Okay. But in addition to like the residents of Oscarville being moved, previously in the same area, there were Cherokee and Creek Native nations. And they were also removed from the land like way earlier in the 1800s. But I just mentioned that because it was interesting, because this strip of land overlaps with the Trail of Tears.
Oh, that is interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot going on this land. But in the 50s, they decided to flood it. And so the flooding was done by the army. But like I said, they tried to remove like as much as they can, but they like really didn't care. And so now you can go down there and dive, and divers do that. And they like identify a lot. There's like roads down there. There's like buildings down there. It's actually kind of dangerous because there's like a lot of like
metal and I assume like building materials.
Debris. Yeah, like a lot of debris, and they've identified a lot. So that's kind of like crazy. They were just like, we'll just leave it and then flood the whole place. But getting into like the more spooky side of this story, this lake is actually like pretty dangerous. Like, yes, it is dangerous in the sense that all that stuff is down there and it's like not great. I mean, I'm sure it's super deep. But some of it is not. And so it's kind of hazardous to hang out in this lake. But there's reported over 750 deaths in this lake since the 1950s.
That's a lot. That's like a few a year.
That's more than 10 a year, it said.
That's a lot. I mean, even accounting for like, people die in lakes from, boating accidents. They're drunk, get hit by a boat if they fall off their tube or whatever. But that's still a lot for like a year.
Yeah, right. And so, they said obviously there's like boating accidents. There's like sunken boats. There's a lot of debris and like treacherous landscape underneath, and the water doesn't offer like a ton of visibility. But like one creepiness that was described is drownings that happen. Formally, the swimmers will go down there and then they'll get stuck on some of the debris, and are like unable to swim back up and then drown. But like, are they getting stuck in debris, or is something else grabbing them?
Swamps, spook.
Oh, now it's a swamp? Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not like a lake monster.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
Like
something is down
cool.
there. Ghosts, obviously. We are a good podcast. But it's like holding them down and like drowning these people. That's what the theory is. But there's also like weird instances of deaths and stuff where like boats will randomly catch on fire, like unexplained missing people in the area, and like construction mishaps in general. So there's like a lot of weird deaths around this lake, but the ghosts are said to be like one of the primary causes. The ghost, obviously, of all those people that they failed to move all the way from like native people to like modern graves.
Interesting.
Yeah. So many say that the lake is haunted and that the malicious ghosts are responsible for these drownings, but there is one specific ghost that is known. It's actually not the lady in white. It is the lady in blue.
Oh, blue this time. She changed her dress. Maybe it's her sister.
She is the blue lady of the lake is her name. So the story goes, in 1958, Delia and her friend Susie decided the term that they used was gas and dash. Where like you fill up your tank with gas in your car and then you just like drive away without paying.
I was like dine and dash, but then you like filling up the tank.
Yeah. So they were gassing and dashing.
Can't really do that nowadays.
No, because you have to prepay.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's the reason why. But maybe in 1958 you didn't have to prepay. But anyways, they ended up like like driving the heck out of that gas station,
Uh-huh.
ended up driving over a bridge into the lake, unfortunately.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very sad.
So they both died, obviously. What was really crazy is people would often see Delia. They say that it's Delia because of the blue dress that she was wearing at the time that she died. It's often seen that Delia's ghost is seen in a blue dress, walking around the road, walking around the bridge, searching and kind of looking lost.
Sad.
Yeah, but it was very like odd because people report that they see her with no hands.
Oh, so maybe like something happened in the accident.
Well, what's interesting is 18 months after the accident, a fisherman found a body in the lake, and the body was like too decomposed to identify. So they had to just like bury it in an unmarked grave. But the ghost, the body, the ghost, was missing a couple toes and missing both their hands.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Right? Because like no one knew. They're like, oh, that's Delia because she doesn't have any hands. Like, no, they were seeing her without hands. And then later they discovered a body with no hands.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's wild.
And it was, so this happened in 1958. And then eventually in November of 1990, construction workers found the actual car.
Oh, okay.
And it was at the bottom of the lake and it was like filled with mud, but the tires were like still inflated. It was like in pretty good shape. And there, unfortunately, they did find identifying bones of Susie, the other woman.
So they found one body they were able to identify with the car.
Yeah.
And then a second body that they weren't able to identify.
Yeah.
But the ghost shows up as the other girl.
Correct.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. That's a good.
Yeah, because they recognized the dress that she was wearing.
Wow.
So it's assumed, right, that if you see a ghost with no hands, that was probably her. Because
Yeah. For like conclusion.
Right. So that's pretty crazy. So some also claim to see the Lady of the Lake floating just underneath the water surface with her arms, not hands, outstretched, searching for someone or something to pull under the water with her.
Oh.
Maybe she's searching for her friend Susie.
Bring her back.
Yeah. Many who swim in this lake describe the sensation of like people or hands grabbing at their ankles, going back to the drownings that I mentioned. These people would grab swimmers and try to drag them underneath the water, and others hear ghostly whispers at night calling out names and urging them to return, like to come into the water.
Oh, that's creepy.
Right?
As you're doing like a night swim or a night fish or something, and then you just like hear a voice coming from behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
Or like a lady's voice, like Susie or Delia here.
I'd be like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like the most famous like ghost story that goes along with it. But it's like pretty crazy, the history. Wild. And I mean, of course, it's haunted with all of those cemeteries and like bodies under there that they didn't get. Wild.
It's wild.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my first one.
That was a good one.
Thanks. Let me hear yours.
My first one is the Ellis Hotel, also formerly known as the Winecoff Hotel.
Okay, I haven't heard of either.
Okay, so
where is it?
Known as the Jewel of the Atlanta Skyline.
Atlanta.
In Atlanta, Georgia. Here is a picture of it in 1918.
Oh, wow. That was nice.
Very black and white. And then here is a picture modern day.
Oh,
in color.
Oh my gosh, I like it.
Yeah, very beautiful. It was really built in 1913 as the Winecoff Hotel and 15 stories tall. So it's a big building. It has a tragedy that occurs.
I'm sorry. The way that you said that. It has a tragedy that occurs.
A tragedy would occur.
Did AI write this for you?
No, it did not. I can't even use it that confidently. So, jumping forward, built 1913. In 1946, on December 7th, which is not a good day for the U.S. in the 40s, apparently, because that was also Pearl Harbor. And this is the reference I'm making.
Yeah, no, we know.
Okay, December 7th, 1946, they had a fire breakout that would kill 119 people.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was the deadliest like hotel fire in U.S. history.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. They thought it was not unburnable, but like they didn't think that they could
An
have
unsinkable ship,
they call it like the
Titanic of
Titanic
the land.
hotels or something like that, or like that. I did see that referenced online.
Yeah.
But they didn't install fire safety mechanisms because they thought it was unburnable because it had like, it was like an early steel structure and it had a brick exterior. So they're like, oh, there's nothing that can burn.
They're like, we're only going to put metal,
yes,
metal
only
couches,
metal ever.
no
marble
carpet.
floors.
Yeah.
But like, I guess they didn't consider that fire could burn on like carpets and
Oh, no way.
rugs and stuff.
Wait, hold on. Ship fires are like super common.
Yes.
They did not common, like dangerous. Anyways, they didn't think that like,
ships are made of metal.
if ships could burn, I
Maybe
wonder if
building
this
could
metal
burn.
building will burn.
But apparently they didn't.
That's crazy.
And so there was
That's
no
very unfortunate.
safety mechanisms. There was only one stairwell. So what happens is the fire starts on the third floor in like the middle of the night, early morning, and then spreads to the stairwell and traps people. And so the city brings in a bunch of firefighters, like over 400, but
Whoa.
it's a very tall building.
And they only had buckets of water.
And they only had ladders that could get to the 8th story.
How many stories was this?
15.
Oh my God.
Yes. So what you had was a really tragic situation where people were like putting together, tying together clothes and bed sheets to make ropes and trying to jump out into nets. And they would miss the nets and the ropes would snap.
Oh my God.
It was a really terrible situation. The original owners, the Winecoffs, they passed away in this fire. A bunch of kids passed.
I'm sorry, what year was this again?
1946.
That's like, pretty modern.
Yeah, I mean, like this was in your dad's
That's
lifetime.
crazy.
Yeah. So
my dad's not that old, but.
He was born in early 50s.
You just said 1946.
I thought he was born. Oh, yeah, because I guess you're. Anyway, I'm not getting into it. So a huge tragedy. There was a school group there, or there was students there being hosted by like the YMCA of Georgia, do like a student government type thing. So they were trapped in the fire. So it was a huge tragedy. 119 people died. And I guess like a really famous picture came out of this. There was a guy named Arnold Hardy, and he was the first amateur person to ever get a Pulitzer Prize photo award.
Oh.
He was a 24-year-old student at Georgia Tech, and he got a famous picture I'll put here of one of the women jumping out of the windows in like midair.
Maybe we shouldn't put that.
But she survives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to put a picture of someone who...
I was like,
No, so like it's famous because she survived.
Wow.
So she's like midair, and she does lose a leg and has some broken bones, but presumably she jumped from the 11th story. So went into a net, I would assume. And she actually ended up working at the hotel until she retired, and she lived until 1992.
Whoa. She went back. Oh my God. That'd be too traumatizing.
So yeah, pretty wild.
So she's not the ghost that haunts it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that happened. I don't think that she's the one.
Oh, wait. Just to preface this, you were saying that like some of your stories are more historical and some are more ghostly. Is this one of your historical ones?
No, this one's more ghostly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, unsurprisingly, this is a tragic series of events or a tragic event. So it's going to leave a scar on the building and the energy there.
Yeah, for sure.
And so construction workers who were involved in the renovation noticed things like their tools going missing, which I mean, they were just getting stolen probably, but then also getting moved. And like they were the only ones there, they would get moved. And then they would hear like people talking and interactions in empty rooms. If they're renovating the hotel, no one was staying there, but you hear people talking in like a hotel room. And then they would go in there and nobody would be there.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Normal kind of haunted occurrences reported. Just like shadow figures in the hallways and stuff. And then people like on the call board, the switchboard, they would get calls from unoccupied rooms. And then the elevators will like move between floors, like letting nobody out. So like nobody's calling them, and then they like would go up to the floor, open their doors, close. So basically like they're either theory, obviously the implication is ghosts are moving between floors.
Yeah. And they're taking the elevator.
And they're taking the elevator. And then I guess more closely tied to the fires is ghosts. Guests currently will wake up to the smell of like smoke in the middle of the night, but there won't be any smoke. And they will hear like terrified screams of people, presumably from the fires. They'll hear people like running down the hallways like they're running from something.
That would be
there's no
super
fire.
scary.
Yeah.
Just hear like thump, 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 thump,
Yep.
like through the hallway.
Yep.
Ugh.
Although
Oh my
knowing, yeah. And then at like supposedly 2:48 a.m. when the fire supposedly kicked off, the fire alarms will just go off randomly.
Oh, that's super annoying.
Yeah, that'd be
And
very annoying.
frightening.
Terrifying.
And also very annoying.
Like, can I get? I'm trying to sleep here, ghosts. Come on.
Like, please.
I got a business presentation in the morning. But then, not only inside, but people will see ghosts from the outside as well. So they'll like look in, like see the windows of the hotel, and they'll see like terrified, screaming faces of people, including like a mom with kids.
Oh my gosh, that's very unsettling.
Yes.
Is it like, I know that we had that, oh my gosh, I forget where it was, but the one where I talked about it and it was like a building and the face was like in the window.
Oh yeah.
Even when you got rid of it.
Like Alabama or something?
I forget, but in my head, I'm envisioning something similar.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. It's like people, they'll see like they say, I read like Frozen in Terror.
Ugh.
That's something nightmare stuff.
Absolutely not. No, thank you.
That's the end of that one. So it's pretty wild. It's like,
it's very alarming.
Yes.
It's like a bunch of people died and it's super haunted.
well, the crazy thing about this was like, it's relatively modern. So there's like photos of it happening.
Ugh.
Like in the moment. A lot of people died and none of it is speculative. I'm going to say like, like last week when I was talking about St. Augustine, like some cool historical stories about like, the wife who's cheating with the captain and they get walled up behind the thing. Like who knows,
Right. But this is like, they have documentation of all of this.
Yes. Like it was recently and it changed a ton of building codes across the US. So like it led to a lot of safety improvements and things like that in hotels.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
And spooky.
Spooky.
The one I take away from that is the running down the hallway. Something about that is like very unsettling to me.
For me, it's the one, like if you're looking up at the hotel and you see like faces looking back, it's sad and it's terrifying. It's like both, it's just like, yeah.
Okay.
That's that one.
Lovely. Thank you.
I always have the happy ones.
Yeah, I know. Okay. My next one is, it's not happy. I don't know what I say. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
It's the Pirate House, people. Pirate House. I still don't know any of these ones. I thought maybe that was going to be a good one, but it wasn't.
We should get a pirate sound.
That one. R. I think it's also too low for anyone to hear.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. There we go.
Nailed it. Okay, the Pirate's House.
Okay.
Savannah, Georgia. So the first thing that came up when I looked this up, it's a restaurant.
Oh.
Like a very popular restaurant. It has 4.3 stars on Google with nearly 10,000 reviews.
Oh, that's popular.
We gotta go to the Pirate. I was looking at the menu.
Savannah looks like a beautiful city, so I say we go. We get some.
Yeah.
I assume there are fish tacos there. It's called the Pirate House. I do not have fish tacos.
Anyways, yeah. So it's a restaurant now, but it is haunted. It first opened in 1753 as an inn for seafarers.
Oh, so this is like really old.
Yeah.
Wow. When I think of restaurant, I think of like it's like a Joe's Crab Shack.
No, we do not have a haunted Joe's Crab Shack on our hands.
All right. If anybody knows of a haunted Joe's Crab Shack, let me know.
We'll be the first ones to investigate.
Yes.
No. So it's like the building is old. The restaurant was not in 1753. I just said it was an inn for seafarers.
Joe's Crab Shack since 1793.
Imagine, wait, I just got an image of like them going to the Prancy Pony in
yeah.
Lord of the Rings, except it's a Joe's Crab Shack.
They got like Flair from like Office Space.
They have those like, I used to actually really like those when I was a kid. This is derailing, but the Joe's Crab Shack shirts that had the smiley face on it and they were tie dyes. Anyways, unrelated. Let's get back into it. So in 1723, James, not Joe, Oglethorpe and a group of debtors.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. They went to Savannah looking to start a fresh start. They ended up establishing a garden, which is really interesting to see what could grow in Savannah, which is super cool.
Oh.
That's like something you do when you settle a new place. You're like, let's see what can grow here.
I guess that makes sense. Never
Right?
thought about it.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the original starting of this inn.
Okay.
And then eventually a saloon/hotel was built like 50 feet from the gardener's home. And they connected like tunnels between the two. And so these two buildings are now what's referred to as like the Pirate's House.
Okay. Cool.
That's a little bit backstory on how it came to be. In the 1700s, Savannah was like a port city, like I just described. And the Pirate's House was a haven for the pirates. But also something that took place there was Shanghaiing. Have you heard of this?
Oh, I have.
What is
explain it? You don't know?
No, I know.
I was gonna say, do you know? I don't know what this word is. I believe it's when like you go to a bar and then you basically get kidnapped and then you wake up on a boat.
Yeah.
And you're like, now you're a pirate.
Yes,
Like,
that's literally what it is. So they would kidnap, I assume like drunk men, and then just like, now they're pirates now. So I'd never heard that term.
Congratulations, you're a pirate.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. So this place was like very notorious for Shanghaiing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So according to the legend, the tunnels that I described earlier, there was tunnels that would lead straight to the river. And so they would take these like drunken patrons and like go underground and like tunnel them off to the ships.
Sure. Ooh.
Just wild.
Kind of cool to think about. I mean, it's not cool to happen, obviously, but like it's like
waking up on a pirate ship
out of a movie or something.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I feel like I haven't seen that in a movie before, actually.
Really?
Have you? Maybe I need to watch more pirate movies.
I think you do.
Anyways, they would, I like this term, be forced to sail the high seas against their will.
It'd be pretty terrible though when you think about it.
That would be awful.
Like stuck on a ship, you don't
You're
want to
like,
be
oh my
on.
God, guys, I have seasickness. Like, this is not my jam.
So you're basically a slave at that point. You're just being enslaved.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the oldest section of the Pirate's House is the Herb House, built in 1734. It was the former it's said that the former caretaker spirit lives there.
Okay.
Like hangs out in the Herb House.
The
He
herb?
can be seen like peering. Oh yeah, this place is haunted. I don't know if it was like a bad transition, but
I can't believe it.
yeah. So
That's convenient for the show.
one of the ghosts that are there is the caretaker, and he can be seen like peering out the Herb House.
Okay.
But just in general, this place seems very haunted, and it's said that a lot of the haunting is obviously from these pirates that didn't want to be pirates. That they were.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they're, you can hear them like, or see them like searching for a way out, like trying to get out of there, which is crazy. But it says that like ghostly whispers and laughters are heard, mysterious figures, including men in old-fashioned sailor attire. This one I really liked. Glowing eyes in the basement.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? Someone reported seeing glowing eyes staring at them from the darkness of the basement. But the reason why I picked this story was actually because there was a super interesting like Reddit thread of a guy that worked there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had like a whole long post. So I'm just only going to describe some of it here. But it was just like very fun. So this guy, he was like, I think he was like a busboy or something to that effect, a hostess in the restaurant. But it's like a pretty modern story, obviously. So it said that he was cleaning and setting a table like after hours. No one was eating there. It was just him and another coworker. The other coworker was telling him the story of a boy that died in the area, either of like TB or yellow fever, but they died in the house. And they were just, two guys just telling ghost stories to each other in the haunted house. But
as
it was,
you do.
yeah, right, as you do. But the little boy was like often seen walking around. It was interesting. It said that the boy loved coins and would like toss them around the house.
Okay.
And so, or the restaurant now. And so they would hear like coin sounds in like the hallways and things like that. So just as the other coworker was telling this guy this story, picture it, you're like talking to me, I'm wiping down a table that's empty. You wipe down the table and then fling a coin, like flings off the table. And a woman that was like sitting nearby is hit in the leg with a penny.
Oh, weird.
So
like just like coins.
The guy was like, I don't know where this coin came from, but I was wiping this like perfectly clean table. I would have noticed if there was money on the table. And I wouldn't have just flung it at this woman.
Yeah, like throwing a coin at them.
Yeah, but literally, like, while that guy is telling the story, he's wiping, and they're like, fling.
Oh, that's weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, right? And so there was another one that this guy said where he just, in general, used to see shadows out of the corner of his eye, hearing his name being called when he was, like, in the ballroom area, like, bussing and setting tables by himself. Mm-hmm. Another one that's crazy is a possession story that this guy, again, eyewitness.
Okay.
Very real on Reddit.
Yes.
No one lies on Reddit.
No. These are real stories. Verified.
Okay. So this one was next. So he's in like the hostess area of the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Next to the hostess stand, there's a glass case that holds a bunch of like merch for the gift shop. It's like a lot of like, like themed stuff. So think like skulls and like pirates gold or all sorts of like piratey stuff. And then this woman, just like a patron, comes in, and as soon as she crossed like the threshold of this like pirates case or whatever, an entirely like different expression overtook her. Her posture changed, her voice changed, and she started screaming and cussing out one of the skulls in the glass case.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. The hostess were really freaked out. Naturally,
I would imagine.
This drew the attention of like everyone in the restaurant. They started asking her, like, do you need some water? Like, can we help you? Like the managers came over and like touched her. So they like were trying to help this screaming woman in the middle of the restaurant. And so one of the managers comes over and like touches her shoulder. And as soon as the manager touches her shoulder, she stops.
Oh, weird.
She went completely back to normal. She then turns around away from the glass case, completely normal, and had a big smile on her face. She then started gushing about what a good time she had at the restaurant and how good the food was and how good the meal was and how she couldn't wait to come back. And she turned around and walked right out. She never ate anything. She was at the restaurant for like less than 10 minutes.
That's bizarre. What a weird story.
Right?
Like,
could you imagine if you're just like eating and some woman just like comes in, like screams and like is losing her mind.
Yeah.
And then like turns around calmly with a smile on her face and talks about what a good meal she had. And then like leaves.
And like leaves. Oh, that's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
So that one, he said it was like something evil, not good. And this woman was like very clearly possessed.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because it wasn't like she came
story.
in upset. Yeah. Like as soon as she crossed that threshold of that glass case with the skull, she like had a freak out.
Lost it.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, that was just a really good story.
That's a good story.
Thank you. Let's hear yours.
All right. We're ending with the Sorrell Weed House.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I told you that we had watched something on this. Did you find out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So picture here, very beautiful house, famous for its Greek Revival and Regency architecture in Savannah, Georgia. So we're staying local. It was originally built in the early 1840s for a Francis Sorrell. He was a rich shipping merchant and plantation owner, just classic pre-Civil War, rich guy. And but his son is probably more well-known historically. Gilbert Sorrell, he was the youngest general, one of the youngest generals in the Confederate Army, like the youngest. He was under James Longstreet, but he was also friends with Robert E. Lee.
Oh, okay.
So Robert E. Lee visited the home a couple times.
Oh.
Yep. But right during the war, they sold the house to a Henry Weed, so that's where weed comes from. So it transferred from the Sorrells to the Weeds.
Okay.
Yep. And he would own the home till 1914, and then on and off it become a museum. Currently, it's still a museum where they do like tours of the facility, and then at nighttime they do ghost tours.
Ooh.
Yeah. And some of the people who have investigated those houses, it's all the bigwigs, really. It's all of them.
Wait. I have to guess on the scale of of 1 to.
Yes.
Yes,
no.
He's been there, or yes or no?
You have to guess. The scale is 1 to yes or yes.
Yes.
1 to no. Yes.
Okay. Wait, we have to just Zach Baggins.
Zach Baggins. So yes, this place has been investigated by all the bigs. So
okay.
Zach Baggins in the Ghost Adventures crew, the Taps crew in Ghost Hunters.
We learned about Taps.
Yes, and the biggest of the big, the number ones, Shane and Ryan from Ghost Files.
Yes, I thought they did.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Back
want to
in-
rewatch that video now.
We should.
Yeah.
Back in the
OG.
yeah, the
BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope this is the one. I don't remember. I remember there's one episode from that show where they like
Actually caught
catch
a ghost.
something like moving on film, but they never like addressed it of all the things. So I hope it's that one. I don't know if it is.
Okay.
But it'd be crazy and it would corroborate with the stuff that we'll talk about here. So
Okay. Now I'm going to look it up.
you're like, start watching like mid
Sorry, guys. Keep talking. Yeah.
So, but to get to the ghosts, like what could have caused the ghost, we have to first go before they were even there. So during the Revolutionary War, there was the siege of Savannah.
Okay.
And so the battle took place right near where this house is, in like a square or courtyard there. And 100 people died during this siege. It was between the Americans and the French, and they were trying to kick out the British who had taken over Savannah like the year before or something.
Oh, the American and the French were teaming up.
Yes. Yep. American French soldiers versus the British.
Got it.
And a lot of people died. Hundreds of soldiers died, and then they were buried around there, and they were never exhumed. So the bodies are presumably still there. And then later, which might have also caused more of the
unrest
in the home itself, was let's just say this Francis guy didn't have luck with his wives or mistresses staying alive.
Okay.
So
it was bad luck.
Bad
it had
luck.
nothing to do with
it's not
him.
the hymn's fault. So Francis, let's just say he had a lot of women die around him. So his first wife, Lucinda, died, I think before they had the house. And then shortly thereafter, he marries her younger sister, Matilda. Matilda then catches him, the husband, Francis, sleeping with one of the slaves named Molly. And then Matilda then supposedly throws herself off the balcony.
Oh, geez.
And passes away.
Oy.
Yeah. And then quickly thereafter, Molly also passes away when she's
Another
found.
one. Oh, my God.
Supposedly also having,
Oy.
taken her own life.
Oy.
Because she was afraid of being blamed for Matilda's death.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
that's sad.
But people are like, maybe none of these women killed themselves.
No, definitely not.
They all were murdered. So that's the working theory.
I don't think that all these women are just tragically killing themselves around this guy.
He's just I don't know. It's happening. So unsurprisingly, there is ghost activity in this house.
Yeah.
Attributable to the two women who passed away in that house.
The first wife didn't want to partake.
I don't think she was there in that house. I think she passed away before the house was done. I think. I don't know for sure, but
maybe she visits.
Yeah. So because of this, now this house is said to be one of the most haunted places in America. It's on all sorts of lists as, number 1 or on the top 10 or whatever you have. So very famous. But unsurprisingly, people will feel a dark, ominous presence in the house and the feeling of being like choked, like overwhelmed.
Choking is very scary.
Yeah.
Like ghost chokes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I would personally think that's Francis.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Like I down to these women who were victims, not the guy who was probably killing them, or if he didn't kill them, responsible for their deaths. People will see dark figures in the hallways. People will see Matilda on the balcony that she jumped from, supposedly. People will see Molly in the carriage house where she was found. And I think this is very scary. It's like you see it in movies, but people will see women in mirrors in the house.
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps.
And then I think this is more of a lighthearted, fun one because it's like Haunted Mansion-y, but people will hear a lot of like lively activity and like there's a party going on in the living room. And then as they get closer, the party goes away. So it's like kind of like you picture.
Very like The Shining.
Yeah, that too.
He's like having a party.
I think it's like on Haunted Mansion where you're like looking down into the room while the party's going on.
That's my favorite scene. Oh my gosh.
And then particularly in the slave quarters, people will feel like very ominous presence, like they're being watched. And then also like they feel like a rope around their neck.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This guy, Francis, got to stop strangling people.
Can't help it. And then lastly, and it's not in the house itself, but near it, people will hear the battle sounds. So it's kind of like unrelated to the house itself, but like apparently for outside, you can hear like musket shots, like battle sounds. That's all I had on that house. But
I like that one because a lot of times in these like ghosts, they're like, oh, we know it was Jack because his footsteps, or
Yes.
there's like 3,000 ghosts in here, but like we don't really know why or the origin story of any of them. This one I like because it's like stuff happened here in these particular rooms, and these are the women that it happened to, and these are the ghosts that are there.
Yes,
it's like
it's a
makes
direct link.
100% sense. This one seems like more legit to me than some of the other ones that are like more generic.
Not as like folklore-y.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, she's said to have liked perfume. It's like, how
Right.
do we know that?
Or like there's a little girl here, but like we don't really know where she came from.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This one's like very specific.
Yep.
It's just spooky.
Spooky and tragic.
It seems like there's a lot going on in Savannah. We gotta go check it out.
I think it's a really old city. A lot going on.
At a minimum, we have to eat the fish tacos.
Yes.
I don't even know
At
if
the
I have
pirate
fish
house.
tacos.
All right.
Good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Georgia was a good one.
Georgia was a good one.
Do you know what our next one is going to be?
Whatever comes after Georgia alphabetically.
What comes after Georgia alphabetically?
Oh, Hawaii?
It does. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right,
Hawaii.
we'll do Hawaii.
I already know exactly what I'm going to do for that one.
I know one that I want to do.
Oh, I hope we're not thinking of the same one.
Is it from that Spooked podcast that we used to listen to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe
Well,
we'll figure it
stay
out.
tuned
Stay
for what's
tuned.
coming in our Hawaii episode. You know what? Missed opportunity that we didn't do a ghost tour in Hawaii.
Very much so.
How did we miss that one?
Next time we're doing
Next
it
time.
for sure.
Yeah, but thanks so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, friends and family, hi. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you
your
very much,
comments and
as
your
always.
likes and your watch time, even if we're muted right now.
But yeah, we'll see you next time from Tombstone, Arizona.
Yeah, until then, stay spooky.
Stay spooky.